do is we're gonna end on two of our favorite things: guns and sci-fi movies, and it's blending the two of them. So we are going to end on a Brandon video, and Brandon is going to be showcasing the 50 cal that was featured in Robocop. So we're getting Brandon with a gun video with the 50 cal from Robocop. I am excited because this is gonna be fun. Even. So, chat, let's go.
When you think of semi-automatic 50 cals, you might think of something like the Barrett, the Serbu BFG 50A, maybe the GM6 Lynx, or even maybe something made by yours truly. But there's one semi-auto 50 that often goes overlooked despite having an impact on pop culture. You've probably never even fucking heard of it. I'm talking, of course, about the Pala P50.
Okay. See, I like when I saw Robocop, it was Robocop was I saw it a long time ago. And this was before I was like into guns. And in my adult brain, remembering Robocop, I always just equated the Cobra 50 cal, or what did he call this? The Pausa? I always equated this to being the Barrett. Honestly. Because again, I saw the movie when I was very young, and no, Robocop 1 Grumpy. This is from Robocop 1. It made an appearance in Robocop 2. But this was like Clarence Bodiger, about halfway through the movie, like dance each of his gang one of these, and it was used by the gang in Robocop's final fight, and it's what Robocop uses to blow up Ed 209. And granted, they made these guns seem like they have exploding shell, like the standard load on these things was like exploding shells, because every shot they fired literally exploded. Obviously, at 50, it's not firing standard 50 B&G. So, yeah.
And today, we've got one.
It's nice. It's kind of like yeah, it is kind of bland looking, but I mean, considering when this was made, it's still a nice looking 50. That's it. Yeah. Granted, remember, we saw this back in the 80s because Robocop came out, late 80s, I think? That's how old this was. When did the Barrett come out? The Barrett must have come out like mid to late 90s, right? I'm not sure when the Barrett sniper rifle actually came out. Was the Barrett 80s too? Okay. Probably wasn't as popular though, because I don't even remember hearing about the Barrett sniper rifle for anything like in the 80s movies. This was like the one big gun that I can remember, other than like miniguns. This is the one big gun that I can remember from like 80s movies. Off the top of my head. So the Barrett hadn't really made a name for itself, I guess. 89? Okay.
So of course, like a normal range video, we are going to be shooting this bad boy, and we're going to be talking about what makes it tick, get up all in them nerdy guts, and tell you exactly what the hell is it about the P50 that is cool. But first, where would you know this gun from? If it doesn't look familiar, let me jog your memory a little bit.
Here we go.
That's right, the Pala P50's Hollywood debut was as the anti-material rifle from Robocop, specifically Robocop 2. It's a super rare...
Wait, this wasn't the one from Robocop 1? I need research. I need quick research. Someone research what was used in Robocop 1.
For a little perspective, E.T. lost Atari $100 million. That's almost $400 million today. Concord was far worse.
God, Andrea, how long ago did you send that? I'm guessing you said that a while ago and Tangia delayed it significantly. Okay, it was a different one. That was the MI2A2. Okay. I thought it was
That's
the one
right.
from
The
one.
Pala P50's Hollywood.
Was it a Barrett? What? Robospartan, was that a Barrett? Was it actually a Barrett in Robocop 1? M82A2. Huh. Okay. Okay.
Debut was as the anti-material rifle from Robocop, specifically Robocop 2. It's a super rare piece, and I'm really excited to talk to you guys about it. However, we haven't shot it yet.
Could be Revan,
And by
could
that
be,
I mean, I haven't even shot it yet. This gun could just explode. So I'm not thrilled about that, but
probably
I
not,
do know
J10.
there's
It's
only
probably
one way to
its own
find
magazine.
out. Together. So I bought this piece from Rock Island Auction. Awesome company. I'm absolutely addicted. They sell a lot of exotic historic shit, and when you're buying exotic historic shit like this, you buy it in the condition that it is in, which sometimes...
Really? That's canonically in Robocop. It was said to shoot 14 millimeter? Really? So in the Robocop universe, a puzzle or a Barrett, depending upon the movie, supposedly shot 14 millimeter rounds. Yeah, yes, Robocop is strunk, but the gun wasn't big enough for that. Okay, we've seen Scott shoot the 20 millimeter, and he was shooting out of the frame of a Puzu and a 50 and a Barrett. Yeah, that was not a 40 millimeter rifle.
Sometimes it's a little hard to determine. I don't know if this gun is functional. It should be. I don't know if this gun is going to be safe to fire. There's only one way to know. But we did some basic safety checks beforehand. We checked the headspace. She doesn't swallow a field gauge. We should be good to go in that department. So the only real way to find out if she runs is pull this trigger. Well.
And that's interesting. It is a completely open bolt system. Oh, that's fascinating. There's no coverage for the internal mechanism. The entire top end of the bolt retracts with no cover. I cannot, off the top of my head, I cannot recall seeing a firearm with this kind of bolt system where it's completely open like this. SKS does that? Well, okay, like I know that SKS and AKs work from an open bolt system, but this one, it's completely exposed. The bolt is complete, like the breech is completely exposed. Does the SKS, SVT, and VC58 go completely exposed like this? They're all open top? Okay, I've never fired any of those, so I will take your word for that. I've never seen anything with an open top.
Well, she chambers. 3, 2, 1.
Huh.
Nice. Oh, she fired.
The hell of a kit.
She's short-stroked a bit. Oh no, the magazine nosedived. Let me try the other magazine.
What?
Just in case. The boys
the
warned me about
magazine
that.
came
One
out.
of these magazines likes to nosedive. Nosediving is when the rounds kind of cant downward like that, and when it tries to feed it, it smacks into the front of the magazine or into the feed lip, and not up ramping into the chamber like it's supposed to. So we got our second magazine here. Give that another go. There we go. Second round ever with the Pausa. New magazine. 3, 2, 1. There we go.
And again. Wow, that's interesting. You could actually see the round feed in. Look at this. When it ejects it, there's the ejection. And you can actually see the ejection rod right there. Ejects the round. You can actually see the other round chamber in right here. And it does it like wobbly almost. Like, look at the round that chambers in here. It kind of wobbles when it chambers in. That's an interesting. You don't often get to see it in most rifles. You don't get to see the chambering like that. It is neat.
There we go. Still have a little bit of a magazine problem. If you want to come over here, check this out. So the front of the round is hitting just below the feed ramp.
Yeah, Brandon, I would have grabbed onto that charging handle before you touched the front of that round. I could just see him accidentally going boink, and the round suddenly nosing up and the whole bolt slamming down on his finger.
There we go. So I pull that back a little bit more, and it chambers. So yeah, it is what it is. It's an old gun. Also, you know I was not coming all the way out here with a fucking Robocop gun and not firing it from the hip. This is so fucking dumb.
Dangerous camera angle there.
Oh, I pinched the shit out of my shirt. Holy fuck. Note to self, dust covered.
Wait, what? Hang on. Right here. When the bolt blows back, this gaps. This actually gaps when the bolt blows back. Ooh, that could be ouchie. Yeah.
Oh, I pinched the shit out of my shirt. Holy fuck. Note to self, dust cover does not like clothing. That's cool. So this is the Pala P50. It was invented by Robert Pala during the late 80s and was built between 1991 and 1997. There's no real number on how many of these were built. The two numbers floating around the internet are 36 and 86. Either way, less than 100 of these things were ever made, let alone exist. But judging by the serial number here with 023, this is probably the 23rd one to ever roll off the line. This would, of course, make the Pala P50 the second most rare 50 cal in my collection, next to the Barrett M82A2, of which only 20 were ever made.
Okay, so this, the Barrett M82A2, this one was the Robocop 1 gun. So this was that firearm. Okay. It doesn't. Yeah, I guess it does. The stock seems to be, that absolutely looks shoulder mounted. The one I remember from Robocop didn't have this elongated shoulder mount on the stock. So I guess the one that they used in I'm guessing that the one they used in Robocop, they swapped out the shoulder mount for a butt pad. Was it normal in 82? Okay, that obviously makes perfect sense.
So let's go over typical manual of arms. We have, of course, our pistol grip here, which is just a beefed up AR-15 pistol grip. Our trigger, that's pretty self-explanatory. Our safety is a cross safety here. So you got a little button that is here on both sides. We have a somewhat ambidextrous bolt handle here. You can just take this off and I think reattach it on the other side.
Cool.
And our last round bolt hold open on this magazine. The other one, it does not work, and we don't know why.
Good.
On top of that, literally, we have a scope rail that is kind of a somewhat older design, and I don't own anything that fits it. So we're just kind of winging it with the caveman
Interesting.
this video. Now for our magazine. Drop that real quick. Here we go. We have a 5-round single stack magazine, which is why the magazine is so thin compared to, say, the Barrett. Now, if this thing was designed partially to be a Barrett competitor, you might ask why they went with a single stack 5-round magazine when the Barrett has a double stack 10-round magazine.
Yes, sir. He has no
Good
answer.
question. Moving on. Another cool feature is this kind of free-floated bipod. Now, you might be wondering, how is the bipod free-floated if it's clearly attached to the gas block? Well, it's only kind of attached. If you see, you put any pressure on this at all, and it flexes because it's riding in a track there. It's not actually contacting the edges of the gas block typically. So you can flex this without putting pressure on the barrel, which would throw off your barrel harmonics, which would affect your shooting, or your accuracy rather. Science.
Oh, and Tide nerfed at birth. Thank you for the follow.
Bitch. And up front here we have our muzzle device, which is omnidirectional and likes to get a little loosey-goosey. Now to give you a little bit of a demonstration of the muzzle energy we're talking about out of 50 BMG here, got a good old-fashioned gallon of milk out there to kind of give you a nice
this should be good.
visual of the energy transfer of a 50 cal. And because I might be the only person in history who's done this and recorded it, I'm gonna fire this one from the shoulder, just for shits and gigs. Blasting jugs in 3, 2, 1. Holy fuck.
Oh, hang on. I will rewind and move. I will move so you can see that slow-mo of the jug.
Holy fuck. The fucking steel target dripping from the milk. So what's cool about this isn't necessarily the fact that we've absolutely demolished, just disrespected this milk jug. It's the fact that we burrowed a fucking hole into the earth behind it. Great success. It's also worth pointing out this gun was designed and manufactured here in Texas, so I am happy to play a part in relocating it back to its home.
Okay, honestly, that surprised me. I thought for sure this would have been manufactured overseas. I would not, not knowing anything about this brand, the name of the brand itself had me thinking it was made overseas somewhere. That's really interesting that it's made in Texas.
Home state, again, thanks to Rock Island Auction. So how does this motherfucker work? So as you might see here, we've obviously got a gas system, but it is not a long stroke gas piston like an AK or
exactly,
I guess the AK-50.
Yeah.
What we have here is a short stroke gas system. So if you want to come in here, Delance, please, you'll see right there, we have our piston. So that little thing is pushed out. It's a piston that goes the entire length of this gas tube here that when the gun fires, it pushes gas out through this gas block over here, which pushes the piston back, which opens the bolt carrier, unlocking the bolt. Whereas the AK...
Interesting. Huh. So, if I'm understanding the mechanics right, technically it is a gas blowback, but but the gas blowback is going up through that narrow chamber up top here. Hang on, let me rewind it. And by the way, Baba Boss, thank you for the follow. So when the round is fired, the gas goes up into this gas tube and is funneled by force down here, engaging this piston, which forces the bolt back. Yeah, well, that's why, Andrew, I pointed that out when we were watching the slow-mo. That's what, I pointed that out. Interesting. Yeah, no. Same as I realized the piston is the full length of the gas tube. What I was saying is that the gas tube, with the gas in the barrel being forced up into the gas tube, which at force is shoving the piston back into the bolt and forcing the bolt back. Yeah. That's what I was saying. Like, I realized that the piston is the full length. No, okay, Alex, no, I did not. No, maybe you misunderstood me when I was talking about that. I did not think that the piston was the ejector. Not at all. I was not thinking that was the ejector. Okay, if I said ejector, I misspoke. I knew, like, or I had a good feeling that the piston was what was forcing the bolt back. I called it ejector because I just like it. I just said that off the cuff, but I did know that the piston was not actually facilitating the shell ejection or anything like that. That I did know.
The AK bolt carrier group is a long stroke gas piston where it's all attached. The piston is attached to the bolt carrier and feeds directly into the gas block here. It's also rotating bolt, just like, so the AK is like that, the AK-50 is like that, etc. On the Palza, we have something different. So of course we talked about our short stroke gas system, but the lockup is not a rotating bolt. It is instead tilting bolt. When the bolt carrier comes back, you can see the bolt lift up and out of a groove. And when I put it back forward, it tilts back down, hence tilting bolt. That's because the locking lugs are back here. You can actually kind of see that while the gun is actually cycling. Now you might be thinking that exact operating system sounds really familiar. That's because it is. This is essentially just a big ass SKS. Or an SKS-50, if you will.
You guys
the
called
operating
it.
system is super similar. Okay, so on a typical SKS, I don't actually have an SKS here, but I do have what the SKS is based on. Another Simonov rifle, the PTRS-41. We'll show that off in its own video at some point. We'll get to it. Yes, I have one now. Another Rock Island purchase, I might add. I have a problem. So here we again have our gas block up here with our short stroke gas piston that feeds back to our bolt carrier.
I cannot imagine that Brandon does not have an SKS. He's gotta have one. And don't forget, this video is from 2 years ago. Don't forget that it is from 2 years ago. So, hi Blades. Good. I'm doing good.
And we have our tilting bolt. As you can see, our lockup surface there in the rear from that tilting bolt. And without giving myself PTRS thumb, it's the same picture. It's just, this is literally just a big SKS. Believe it or not, this came first. The SKS is based on the PTRS 41. And then, I don't know, fucking 50 years later, Robert Palza comes along and makes the P50. Essentially scaling down the PTRS 41, but more likely scaling up the SKS. It's kind of always cool to see new examples of how there's not really a whole lot that's new under the sun. A lot of tried and true proven designs just altered a little bit for different purposes. And that's really what the Palza is, which makes it really neat. And if you dig gun design shit like that, I would definitely recommend checking out SDI, who is one of the sponsors who allowed us to pay for this. If you're looking to get your start in gunsmithing and you're really not sure how, I would definitely recommend looking at SDI. Just like I'm sure you appreciate some of the knowledge we're dropping on you right now, we appreciate them being a sponsor of the channel. ADD break. This is normally where we do our White Claw penetration test, but since there's absolutely no doubt that 50 BMG will just completely ravage a single White Claw can, instead today we're going to be ravishing the box.
Nice.
Is it possible to learn this power?
Usually there's no laws when you're drinking claws, but I think Robocop disagrees.
John! There is no more White Claw. Absolutely gone. You can see fragments of the can and the box. It's all gone. I don't think so, Evil. Hey! Yeah, right there, Evil. Yes, I see exactly what you're saying. Yeah, he might have. He may very well have used for the slow-mo, he may have used the sound effect from Robocop for it. You could be right. Falcon.
Just on the pressure alone, I don't think we had a single fucking survivor. Like, I don't see a single intact can, but I see lots of
Oh yeah, this is 100%
ripped up, just top
anti-material. It's a
halves,
50
everything
BFG.
that demolished them all. And it didn't even come close to stopping the 50. So you move this out of the way, and you see that bullet just kept on going. That hardly even slowed it down. As your parents would say about you digging holes in the backyard, that motherfucker is halfway to China by now. Okay, maybe your parents didn't say motherfucker, but mine did. So disassembly. This gun's kind of a pain in the ass, and it doesn't want to exist. So that's why we've got this. Our patented Pala P50 assembly disassembly tool. We'll get into that in a minute. First step, we got to remove this. So just a little push pin here, but this slides to the rear. There we go. And up and out. So this is your optic rail.
Okay.
And so now we've got it's actually kind of a slick looking gun. When you take that off, you really start to see the resemblance to the SKS and the PTRS 41.
Yeah.
Now for the fun part. So this
SKS
slides forward. And this is where we need the help of our disassembly tool. Slide this forward, and this recoil spring fits into that hole right there.
Nice.
Push this forward. So now I can remove the dust cover here. Make sure the spring isn't about to shoot out the rear. There we go, perfect. So now I'm just gonna let this go to the rear.
God, focus, cameraman, focus.
Normally, you push all this forward, there's a little slot that rides in. And if you don't have this little tool here, as soon as you take this off, this spring shoots violently to the rear and will either go through your fucking wall or it will smack the rear of the gun, potentially bending its own, recoil spring assembly. Great design. Not really. And
careful.
There we go. Perfect. Too easy. I love proper weapon design. Okay. So now, again, we've got our big ass recoil spring here, our dust cover, and now we have the meat of the gun. So take our magazine out here, and we have our bolt and bolt carrier.
Okay.
So here you can see you've got a dual plunger style ejector. Got your extractor here. This is where you can really see that falling bolt or that tilting bolt action we were talking about. So what happens here is
and not only can you see that, you can actually you can see the ramp, it's kind of like a ramping system. So you can see when the bolt retracts, I'm guessing there's probably some, solid metal down here at the bottom where the bolt sits, that the bolt would actually ride up onto this ramp and would tilt it. When you see the bottom side of it, because it's got that ramp on both sides. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. And Chim's, let's see if he shows me inside.
What happens here is when the bolt and carrier are going through the receiver, at a certain point, there's a little cutaway here, and this is our big locking lug here. It's just
there it is. That's what I'm talking about. So basically, when the bolt slides rearward, it affects the ramp. So the bolts, the ramp essentially takes effect, and it will basically ramp over this to tilt up, and then when it returns forward, it basically does it in reverse. So cool.
Monolithic,
and then it fits
just
into the
a
mush.
big ass fucking locking lug that also meets up with the bolt here. So when this is allowed to drop down, those two pieces interface, and what happens is it locks the gun in battery like this. So this gun or this bolt is not fucking moving at all once it's in lockup. That is until the round is fired. Gas goes through this gas block, hits our short stroke gas piston, which smacks the front of our bolt carrier, pushing this rearward. And when that happens, so our bolt is tilted down like this in lockup, the bolt carrier starts moving rearward, which scoops up the bolt and pulls it out of that little rut, which allows this to...
That is slick, I must say. That is some pretty interesting design. So the bolt carrier itself has, with that cutout, slides rearward and sort of like will caught, and because it's catching the bolt with the way they angled the cut, will by sheer rearward pressure force the bolt up into the notch. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it happens instantly. So the bolt goes up into the rear of the bolt goes up into the notch, and then it slides backwards. And then that piece right there ramps the front as well. So when it hits that block inside the receiver, the front end will cause it to ramp it up as well. And then it all comes forward, ramps down off the first ramp off the block, carries forward. The second ramp, by simple gravity, drops it back into place because the bolt is moved forward. When the bolt goes forward, further than the bolt can go, because again of the way the cut is designed, the angle of it forces the bolt downwards and locks it into place. That is really clever design. That is really fucking cool.
Pulls it out of that little rut, which allows this to travel rearward again, eject the spent round, travel back forward under the pressure of the recoil spring, pick up a new live round, and reset the hammer so you are ready to fire again, hypothetically.
Gorfo, I'm guessing they did the sharp angle cuts to force the bolt movement that way. If they did gentle sloping, if they did more sloping cuts, it might not have forced the bolt into the position with the, as Jameson said, as reliably as the sharp angles. With the sharp angles, the bolt is getting forced up into the position you want it to, and it's not moving. It's maintaining that position. So that would likely probably be the reason.
Also, one thing we did notice, because of course we finger fucked this thing as soon as we got it just to take it apart and see how it ticked. The gas block here you can actually remove. I'm not a huge fan of this feature, but it's just threaded on kind of. So we removed that, and the gas port size for the Pala P50 is literally identical to the gas port size we put on the AK-50 V2. We found that out. We were super fucking stoked because we were just fucking guessing. It was kind of a guess and check thing, like see where we're, what's properly gassed. It's the exact fucking same as the P50. That was a little small win.
At least they know they can remanufacture spare parts for this thing if need be, since it's the exact same size as the AK-50. They've got the designs.
For us, it's just kind of cool. So now for reassembly, put this little sucker in, catch the rail. There we go. Perfect. And this is where it gets sketchy again. So we're gonna use our reassembly tool because this gun is just angry and from what I'm seeing, really just doesn't want to exist, frankly.
It doesn't want to be taken apart.
Okay, fuck yeah. They never had time to really refine this gun. So we gotta grab our dust cover. This is so fucking sketch, dude. Here we go. Pushing this forward.
Oh God.
And up a little. Because it's gotta go in this groove in the fucking dust cover. Because of course it does. God.
Oh God, Brandon. Oh, don't hurt yourself.
I love weapons so much. Oh, fuck. There you go, you little fucker. There we go. Fucking hell. Okay, so now we got the easy part out of the way. Now we just reattach our scope rail here. So good.
It's all right. Didn't mean to do that. She was sweating trying to put that thing together. Holy crap. Well, Cortana's, my guess is very few people actually tried to disassemble this fucking thing. That's my guess. It was so hard to disassemble. They probably avoided breaking this thing down like the plague. And Logan, thank you for the follow.
Goes in this groove. Gonna smack that down. Push this back forward, and your pin locks that into place, which also makes it impossible for that dust cover to slide too far forward, so the gun will disassemble itself. So that's pretty cool. And it's also just enough clearance that during firing, it can pinch the shit out of your nice shirt that you only wore 2 or 3 times that you really like, but now you can't wear anymore.
Oh,
Thanks, Robert. So while the Pala P50 may be pretty rare and not all that well known, it is an interesting answer to the problem of making a semi-auto 50.
you can see the hole in his
It's a very unique way of
shirt
going
right
about
there.
it, and it is a unique part of firearm history.
You can see the hole in his shirt right there.
And a bit of a movie star in its own right. So I hope you guys enjoyed learning about it today, and if you like this kind of stuff, be sure to subscribe. I appreciate you guys staying to the end of the video. And as always, I'll see you sexy YouTube mother lovers in the next video. It's eating my shit again.
He's got him again!
Oh, hi. I like to slap my guns around just, in case they think I like them.
Yep.
Same with my whip. All right. Fuck me. So what happens here
He's lost
is
his
as the
tool.
gun is going through the receiver, I'm not a big fan of like screws and shit, but like the way that they did that actually makes a lot of sense. I like that. Sorry.
Whoa. That was fucking cool. That was cool and honestly, really fucking interesting.